NSFW people who have surgically transitioned into another 6. What was the most surprising thing you discovered about your new parts? I've only had top surgery, but there's still numb parts on my chest on the incisions even a year after. Also I opted not to get nipple grafts, but I still have like phantom nip sensations. With HRT, FTM, your lower department starts to grow. I knew that, but didn't know it would go so fast. So one day I was in the shower, looked down, and actually genuinely startled. What's jihati between my legs? ? I got used to it fast though. I rather like it now. With top surgery I clearly remember looking in the bathroom mirror and noticing how different my build looked without the boobage. Somehow my shoulders seemed broader. As someone who is mostly through phalloplasty, waiting on testicular and erectile implants, although you have to have a lot of discussions as there are so many options and configurations in what is done/isn't done, the biggest surprise was the feeling of peeing with my penis for a while, as the urethra was made from arm skin and it's a weird indescribable feeling. It's like feeling water running along skin, and yet not at the same time. Your body eventually learns to adjust and go, oh this is urethra now, and you stop feeling it in the same way. A friend is FTM transgender. He communicated not surprise, but relief, after he didn't have to have periods anymore. Not me, but my GF. It was a long and sometimes scary transition with bottom surgery, but she is so happy now. It's like night and day. I've never been bothered by what equipment my partner packs, so I was a little leery about surgery. When she said she was going to go through with it, it seemed like a big risk that at the time I felt like may not be worth it. After all, I thought she was beautiful in every inch of her body, but her bottom dysphoria was so bad. And I only now realize just how terrible it was for her post-surgery. She's so happy. So happy. She seems more alive and herself than ever before. I love her dearly, and am so glad she can live as herself. Surgery isn't necessary for everyone, and that's fine. But for those who have bad dysphoria it is absolutely life-changing. And this is coming from someone on the outside. I had sex reassignment surgery, vaginoplasty, 3 years ago and there was a lot I was surprised about. On a positive note, I was surprised about how great it feels. I knew I really wanted surgery, but part of me was afraid I would regret it. As a trans person you get a lot of people telling you surgery is mutilation, and that it will ruin your life. But I have been so much happier with my body ever since. It's really improved my confidence a lot, and it has made sex much better and less upsetting. On a grosser note, queefing. I had never heard about it, and the first time it happened to me, I had no idea what it was. Been on HRT but no surgery. I knew I'd experienced clitoral growth from testosterone into a more penis reminiscent growth, yet did not know this included foreskin. Trans men pull back the skin and clean well. Wow, this is something I never knew I'd not think about as a question. So a post-op trans male would have foreskin? That's super cool and interesting. Just think. Some people who got circumcision won't ever experience that. So some post-op males will experience something a lot of other males haven't. That's super interesting as well. I have a friend who transitioned and who had masculinizing top surgery. He was absolutely thrilled with the fact that he no longer had to bind in order to have the body he wanted, which was apparently an enormous drain on his mood and general appreciation for his body as it was. And be amazed at just how much lighter his chest felt now that he was no longer lugging 2 big ol' lumps of fat around with him everywhere. Once he'd recovered, he said that even just standing up or walking around, let alone running, was enough to leave him with a smile on his face, because it felt so different. To my knowledge, he was absolutely unconcerned with bottom surgery, but the top surgery made him feel much more like himself. We collectively attach so much importance to breasts that it was, for him, at least, a major cause of distress that made it much more difficult to see himself as he felt he was, or should be, as soon as they were gone. He felt much more like himself. The decision was already pretty easy, but it was made significantly easier by the fact that he had a strong family history of breast cancer. So a double mastectomy may very well have been on the cards for him at some point in the future anyway. Closed bracket. I've posted about this before, but I'm over 7 years post-op. I was surprised how wet I can get and what that felt like. Otherwise, it was surprising what it's like to live in a body that is congruent with my mind and not hate every second of my flesh prison. It is really freaking nice to get to just be alive. What's really surprising? Having sex on LSD. I wanted it to be spiritual or psychologically reconciling. It was so weird. The whole this person is like inside me, what the duck. Obligatory trans but can't afford surgery yet. That shit costs more than a house. Top plus BOTTOM surgery combined. That's not counting the surgeries I have to undergo before getting bottom surgery, like a hysterectomy. I've done research on dicks, asked CI's friends about them, and I know for a fact the most surprising thing is going to be something akin to not having to wipe after I piss. You'll really just shake it, wash your hands, and go. It's going to be something to get used to after not doing that my whole life. I won't be able to experience morning wood or awkward boners. The technology isn't that advanced. Best we got is basically an inflatable pump that's inside our phallus and balls. So I won't get any surprises like that. Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Turning off not ifs. Shout out to that one anonymous person who reported this comment as suicide concern. I actually haven't thought about doing that in the 4 years I've known my wife. Please report only actual reasons. Not you're trans so you're suicidal. I suspect you're also the bigot that came into my inbox. But Reddit keeps who sent concerns privately. Thanks everyone for the tips and cake day wishes. Yeah. But the shaking can be a little strategic. Generally speaking, that last drop is going in your pants. The penis is a spiteful little appendage and will do everything it can to just slightly duck up your day. I try to fake it out by putting it partially away, then pulling it back out. Sure enough, this yields several more drops of urine that would have otherwise gone down my pant leg. This is by no means a guaranteed fix, but it decreases the likelihood of after drip by a significant margin. The success rate is such that, if I'm in a rush, I just do a quick shake and put it away. I'll live with the wet spot. I have somewhere to be. Wiping it doesn't really help. If you wipe, you're only getting the urine that's already outside your dick, not the stuff just loitering in the shaft. I would recommend waiting on surgery. Bottom surgery involves some very precise work with a high risk of complications and infection. If something goes wrong there, you end up having to pee into a bag strapped to your leg for the rest of your life. You can get the pee standing up experience with a Shiwi for way cheaper. I'm trans and got a vaginectomy, phalloplasty, and scrotoplasty, removal and closure of vagina, addition of penis and balls. This was years into my transition, after other surgeries and tons of research. So I had a really good idea of what to expect. I love my genitals now and have erotic sensation in my penis base to tip. The thing that surprised me most has been how much I love my balls, the erotic sensation throughout them, and the euphoria they bring me. Maybe not as cool as my penis, but a close second. JSYK. This is a highly invasive question that most trans people won't answer. I haven't had the surgery yet, but I just want to slip in a little fun fact. When you're on estrogen, your penis will become super soft and will start acting like a vagina. Like smell and more lube fluid coming out of it. Feels great than what it used to be. I cannot speak for every trans woman, but this is my experience. Oh, what a tiny pill can do to the body. I love it. This wasn't surgery, but after I started taking testosterone the consistency of my saliva changed. You know that scene in Mulan where she spits and it like just hangs off her lip before HRT? That used to happen whenever I tried. But now I can spit properly. Nobody prepared me for this, but I was very pleasantly surprised once I realized. As a trans person, I just want to clarify that it's not like you walk into a hospital, say one dick/pussy please, and then just get one installed. There are dozens of different types of procedures. Some of them are trademarked by specific surgeons. You shop around for a surgeon that performs the kind or kinds you are interested in. You consult with a few surgeons regarding your specific body, how they want to handle it, and what you can expect for results. You negotiate certain aspects and make requests. They clarify what's possible. There should be very little surprises about how the area ultimately looks/functions, besides the regular variation in healing and post-operative success. Ideally, there will be zero true surprises. You of course can never know if you'll be the person with a urethral stricture or weird numbness or some unconventional geometry. But ultimately you should be aware of all these possibilities beforehand and be knowledgeable and willing enough to confront them. I'm a transgender woman who has had bottom surgery. It was performed at the Cleveland Clinic, which is super fancy and nice. As soon as I woke up, the most amazing feeling was that I was smooth down there. I'm luckier than most trans women because my body responded well to hormones and I've got some curves. 10 difference between my waist and hips. But on my body, my previous parts look so weird and gross. Now everything has been neatly tucked inside and put in the right place, as I was meant to be. It's just an overwhelming sense of relief and happiness. Science is so amazing. Close bracket. Unfortunately my skin has lost almost all feeling in the area, though I still feel like deeply, if that makes sense. I can't feel the outside too well, but I definition feel it when I have sex. Amazing. Close bracket. And to answer this question at a basic level, I would note that peeing is so different. It's been a few years and I've almost forgotten what it was like to pee before. I always hated the offensively loud way that men pee. Now the pressure is different. I guess I know why women have always said we need to tinkle. The first thing I said to my mom when I woke up after top surgery was, well, that's a big weight off my chest. Dad jokes for the win. My posture is so much better now too. I support trans people to the fullest, even watching bottom surgeries to understand them better. I'm so happy people can be happier within themselves from them. I'm curious about the pricing though. I'll look it up. Edit. If you can't wait, having it for free on the NHS. Having it privately will cost 10,000, 100, 000 plus 5,000, 8,000 for top surgery, then 200, 300 for consultations. Oh my god, that's so much for happiness, WTF. Slightly off topic, but makes me totally understand what kind of emotional release it would be to finally free yourself of something that was previously always on your mind. I always knew I didn't want children even in my teens. When I finally got a vasectomy many years later, right before the surgery, I worried if I would regret it. Immediately after healing, I realized how much that constant worry of accidental pregnancy was holding me back from being happy. I felt so free and able to enjoy my sexuality without being bound by this horrible feeling in the back of my mind at all times. I can only imagine that emotional release is very similar, and it sure is what everyone should be able to feel in their lives. Free to be themselves instead of just imagining it has got to be wonderful. I don't apply to this category, but my best friend is transitioning male to female. I was wondering if anyone had any tips on how I could help support her more. A couple other friends and I were thinking about getting her some like trans pride stuff, and I would love some suggestions on where to get quality stuff. I'm a straight male in my mid-30s, and I gotta tell you guys, this has been very interesting to me. I don't get any of the acronyms, but it's awesome you guys and gals have found happiness and confidence in yourselves. If you enjoy watching these videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like this video. Thanks.